Hello and welcome to another short video recording of how Resolve customers use Resolve Actions and Microsoft Teams to offer a self-service distribution list and groups management service to the end users. The first demonstration or use case enables an end user to use a Microsoft Teams chat app to request the creation of a new distribution list. The end user needs to supply the DL group name and owner and any other information your business may require. A new ticket is created in the ITSM tool for tracking purposes, and then Resolve will obtain the necessary approval from IT and or the DL owner, either via an email message or a direct message to the owner within Microsoft Teams. Once that approval has been obtained, Resolve will then automatically create the new DL group along with any other additional attributes that your business may require, and then inform the original requesting user that the job is now complete. The ticket is updated with the actions undertaken by Resolve and then successfully closed. For the second part of this demonstration, a user will now be able to add additional users to an existing DL group, again, all through our Microsoft Teams chat app. A ticket is created for tracking purposes. However, if the requesting user is not the owner of the DL group, then Resolve will obtain approval from the DL owner, again via email or within Teams, and then add the requested users to the DL group. Finally, the ticket is updated and closed. Let's flip over to the Teams app and click on the company's Service Desk chat app. And you can see here that it displays a little welcome box that tells me what the app can do, and some menu buttons here that I can choose from. So as per use case number one, we're just going to go into Access Management, and that's going to go into Resolve, and Resolve is going to respond to Teams with the next list of menu options that you can see here. I'm going to go into DL Management, and I'm going to choose the option to create a new distribution list. What we're going to do here is just type in the new distribution list name. So that's going to be DL. I'm just going to call this the Friday evening list. And then in the DL owner, I'm just going to put Paul Morris, because Paul Morris is the person who's going to be owning this distribution list and approving the creation of the distribution list and when we want to add more users into that list. Okay, I'm going to click on Submit, and that information is going to be passed over to Resolve. Now what's happening in the background is that Resolve's receiving that data. It's going to create a ticket. It's going to set some details in there, such as the data that you can see here, and that we're also waiting for approval from Paul before we can go forward. We're going to switch over to Paul's interface in a moment. Paul's going to show us how he can approve this request, either through email or through Teams. Paul, if you can just share your screen, please.
Thank you, Brent. I've had a pop-up appear to tell me that there is something in Teams. If I click on the link, I can approve.
Okay, so going back to my interface on Teams, I can see there that that's the stage that we were at right there. So after Paul had approved that message, we can see here that we've now got a message saying, "Hi admin, that new distribution list has been approved and is now available to use." Resolve has now created that distribution list. If we quickly go into Active Directory and do a refresh, we can see that distribution list has now been created. It's got the correct email address. It's got no members yet, and it's now being managed by Paul Morris. So that's all been set up. And of course, as I said before, a Remedy Force ticket would have been opened, set to waiting for approval, and now that would have been closed. Okay, so let's go on to the second use case, which is now about adding users to that distribution list. So Resolve has prompted me already and given me some shortcuts here. I can now click on this button here to go into DL Management, and then this button here to add users to that distribution list. I can select the distribution list that we want from the drop-down box. I can now specify some usernames or email addresses of the users that I want to add into this distribution list. I'm going to click on Submit, and the same process is going to go on as we did before. Resolve is going to receive this data. It's going to create a Remedy Force incident and check the owner of that distribution list. Now, I don't own that distribution list, Paul does, so it's going to automatically ask Paul for approval for us to add these 2 users. And you can see here again, we've created a new Remedy Force ticket with the link to that and a little short message saying that we need to wait for further approval. Okay, we're going to go back over to Paul's screen. Paul, if you can unmute yourself and share your screen, please. And this time, Paul's going to have a look at his email because he would have received an email to do this. So just showing you that we can do this via Teams or via email.
Thank you, Brent. I will open my email. Here it is. I will reply to the email and I will approve.
Okay, thanks, Paul. So if we have a look at Teams, if we just sit here in the Teams console now, when Resolve receives that email back in the mailbox that it's monitoring, it will link that email back up to this specific automation. And as you can see right there, it's received that, and Resolve has gone forward and added those 2 users into that distribution list. If we have a quick look at Active Directory again, and double click on our group, and this time have a look at the members, we can see there the 2 members that we wanted have now been added into that distribution list. Okay, it's now time for a look behind the scenes of the Resolve automation. Now I've incorporated both the new DL and add users to DL use cases into a single runbook or automation, depending on what the end user wants to do within the chat app and Teams, we'll alter the flow from the start here. For example, when the user clicks on the new DL button in Teams, the flow will be directed down here. Now, in order to integrate with an ITSM tool such as BMC Remedy Force, for example, we must first log into Salesforce to retrieve an OAuth token and then create the incident in Remedy Force. Now, Resolve has thousands of these pre-built action tasks that make it considerably easy to build new automations. And obviously this drag and drop automation designer visualizes your automations instead of it being lines and lines of code that no one else could probably easily understand. Okay, after Resolve has created the ticket, in parallel, Resolve will now send an email and contact the DL owner directly through Teams. This automation is then paused while Resolve waits for the DL owner to approve this DL, either by email or from Teams. Once approved, Resolve integrates with Active Directory or Azure AD to create the DL or group and set any other custom attributes. Finally, a confirmation message is posted back into Teams to the requesting user and the ticket is closed. Now we have a similar flow when we add users into a DL or group. Resolve queries Active Directory for the owner of the DL or group and again pauses the automation while Resolve obtains approval from the owner. The Resolve automation will then add the users to the group, post a confirmation message to the requesting user in Teams, and finally closes the ticket in your ITSM tool. Contact us at Resolve to see how we can help automate and orchestrate your IT processes for infrastructure, network, service desk, and other IT operational processes.